is still soft. As I mentioned, still coming down, soft enough for you to pick it up, but not enough to make a snowball here. Besides pollen, one of those allergens is mold, and he says we could expect to see some high levels of mold. We don't even know how long that car has been sitting in there, but clearly submerged in the entire flood water here. And for the last hour and a half that I've been out here with my photographer here, the water seems like it's getting higher and higher. Some drive-through convenience store owners tell me getting rid of these type of businesses would be unfair, as they say the responsibility falls on the driver. The Salisbury Police Department tells me it's been about 8 years since the department has even had cameras in their patrol cars. And they hope images like this one helps them keep everyone safe.
That current food service workers could lose their jobs.
Yeah, Steve, a member of a Washington, D.C. based employee union tells me that about 70 cafeteria workers and about 30 student workers, or more than 30 student workers, could be impacted. Now, the university tells me that because its food service is self-supporting, there may be no need for it to even keep its own in-house service.
Save our jobs, no layoffs.
That is exactly the message these UMES students, some campus employees, along with union representatives want to convey.
They're trying to bring in another food entity into our university, and if they do bring this entity, a lot of residents, well, not residents, but a lot of people that work in the CAF are going to lose their jobs.
The university has been running its own food service system for nearly 20 years. It's one of 3 Maryland institutions to operate this way, but now it says it needs to make some money-saving changes to that system.
Food service is self-supporting. No public tax dollars are used to support food service. We're looking for efficiencies, and if going the private sector route is a more effective and efficient way to do it, then that's the way we'll go.
Joseph Nixon says he has been a dishwasher in the cafeteria for nearly 30 years. He, along with all of these protesters, even took their message to the campus president, who was out of the office today.
Petitions are delivered to Dr. Bell's office.
Nixon calls any changes to the cafeteria unfair to him and many other longtime employees.
Done my job and stuff like that, but I've done other people's jobs too. I feel that I should be able to keep my job.
Even though university officials aren't saying anything is for sure just yet.
No layoffs! Save our jobs!
These students and employees are hoping their voice will be heard loud and clear.
So, Ayesha, let's talk about this a little bit more. What's going to happen with these current cafeteria employees if UMES decides to move forward with these changes?
Yeah, Steve, the university tells me that if it happens to move forward with the plans and bring in a private food vendor, then that food vendor, before it takes over these operations, would be required to actually interview or at least consider these employees for a job.
WBOC's Ayesha Khan live now from the fire scene in Salisbury. And Ayesha, the Holbrook family really just trying to come to grips with what has happened today.
Well, their daughter, Monica Holbrook, tells me she doesn't know where to turn. The 18-year-old only has her grandparents as her family in town. Now, she tells me there is a lot to do in the aftermath of this tragedy, and the best way to start is to stay strong. No one can blame 18-year-old Monica Holbrook for losing control of her emotions.
And not being able to see my father because they say he was burned so bad, it hurts.
Monica says as if the tragedy isn't enough, now she has to worry about making funeral arrangements for her father, William Holbrook.
Trying to figure out where they're going to bury him, how we're going to bury him, with what money we're going to bury him.
The woman injured in the fire has been identified as Mary Holbrook. Janice Bullion is Mary's mom. She's praying for the best.
Because it's my daughter, and I want to lose her.
Monica says losing her father is hard enough, but also gone are family photos.
All the memories, all the pictures, the baby pictures, everything. Our family pictures, they're gone. Everything's ruined.
While the grieving family tries to figure out what to do next.
I don't know what we're going to do.
They look to the community to help them cope with this tragedy. Now, I do want to mention that there was another man who lived in this duplex-style home. He is doing okay, but he pretty much has lost everything. And once again, guys, The cause of this fire still remains under investigation. Reporting live in Wacomico County tonight, Ayesha, WBOC News, Salisbury. The city is trying to get what is known as a receivership, basically asking the county circuit court for permission to be able to take over some of these abandoned properties. Right now, you and I are already paying taxes for the city to come and clean the front yards or even cut the grass. The point is to re-energize neighborhoods while promoting public safety.
One after another, abandoned or vacant homes left looking like this in Salisbury. At times, some don't even look that bad on the outside, like this Victorian house on North Division Street. The city says the owner just gave up on it, a site that Neil Carey says he passes by every day.
I think what we want to see most of all is to see people move into these houses and fix them up.
An idea that resonated very well with some city officials, resulting in the creation of a receivership legislation last June.
What we would be doing is asking the circuit court to allow us to intervene when we have properties that meet any one or a number of criteria.
City Manager Tom Stevenson says right now there are 6 of those properties, including the Victorian house and this house, both on North Division. This one on West Philadelphia Avenue, for example. Stevenson says the owners have paid $10,000 in citations, yet are not doing anything about it.
We're pretty much at our last resort. We've tried everything. We've written our corrective action letters. We've made attempts to contact those property owners.
Drive around the corner and you run into some other abandoned homes on Charles, Wales, and Marshall Streets.
We cannot let these properties continue to sit stagnant. In many cases, they are devaluing neighboring properties.
Police Chief Barbara Duncan says sometimes these properties create not only a health and safety concern, but also a public nuisance.
It's very, very common for us to find alcohol consumption, drug use, prostitution, lower level vice crimes, which of course sooner or later do spill out onto the streets.
Many believe these properties need help, something the city says it's working toward.